Hi, this is Hardik from ME Pro Technologies. A very warm welcome to all the viewers. Today I will be demonstrating for a very wonderful feature provided by OpenERP, that is fiscal position. We'll be looking at what do we mean by fiscal position and an example for it. So let's move ahead and see what do we mean by fiscal position. Let's look at the definition. Fiscal positions are used to determine the tax and the accounts used for the partners. That means that that will tell us what are the taxes and the accounts defined for a partner. Next, fiscal positions automatically maps the default tax account for a product according to partner specific situations for invoices, sale, purchase orders and pickings. So this means that fiscal positions will allow you to override the text and then account structure of a product over it. So whenever you will be creating any sales orders, at that point of time the text account structure is followed by the product. But if you are defining a fiscal position, then the tax and the account structure defined in a fiscal position will override the tax and the account structure defined in the product. Let's look at an example and get a better idea. A company deals with different clients and customers located in different states, countries, having varieties of tax and accounting structures. In such situations, it becomes necessary to ensure that a proper tax and account structures are applied to the respective client. So in that case, product driven tax account structure is not fruitful. You need is a customer driven tax account structure. As I said, whenever you are creating a sale order or a purchase order, at that point of time the text or the accounts are being selected as per the product configuration. But whenever the clients that are situated at the remote locations in different countries, different states, you need to follow the text of the account structure based on that state or the countries, or a client specific text account structure. So for that, fiscal position comes to the rescue, which helps in setting the customer driven tax accounting structure during sales, purchase, pickings and invoicing. And for that you need to create a fiscal position having appropriate tax mappings and assign it to the customers. Okay, let's have a look at the example and have a better idea about that. Okay, before we move ahead to the fiscal positions, let's have a look at some of the products and the tax applied on that product. So here is my product, processor AMD Athlon, and you can see the sales tax applied here is iTax S. Let's look at the another product, that is high speed processor config. Even the same sales tax has been applied here, that is iTax S. And finally the processor AMD Athlon XP 1800, the same sales tax iTax S. So these are the taxes will be applied whenever a sale order will be created in the system based on this product configuration. Let's have a look at it. I'll be creating a sale order. Okay, I'll be supplying the products. So here you can see, as I selected the product, the text automatically gets populated at the bottom of the screen under the label taxes, and that is iTax S, that is we have seen in the product screen. Okay, so this is a default behavior of the system based on product driven tax structure. Now, as I said, whenever you need to create a customer driven tax accounting structure, you need to create a fiscal position and assign that fiscal position to the customer. Now let's create a fiscal position. You need to go to accounting, go to configuration, taxes and fiscal positions. So here you can see that I have defined two fiscal positions over here, that is fiscal underscore 17 and fiscal underscore 13. Let's have a look at it. As I said in the definition that fiscal positions allows tax mapping and account mapping. So here you can see that a mapping for two taxes have been done. For the tax source I have provided I tax S, and for the replacement tax I have provided T17. So these two are my taxes, and when in this fiscal position it says that whenever I tax S tax will be applied, that will be replaced with T17. So this will override the product driven tax accounting structure. Okay, let's look at the another fiscal position, that is fiscal underscore 13. Same scenario is here. Whenever I tax S tax source will be selected, it will be replaced by T13 tax. Also, whenever you are defining a fiscal position, you need to define your company on which this fiscal position is applied. Although this is optional, but it is recommended that you define the company over here, and I have defined your company over here. Okay, now as I said, you need to define a fiscal position and assign it to the customer. So let us assign these fiscal positions to the customer. Okay, in the customer screen, go to accounting tab. You can find the fiscal position over here. So here you can see that the list of all the fiscal positions that we have defined can be found here. I'll be selecting fiscal underscore 17. I'll save this. So whenever we'll be creating the sale order for this customer, the Agrolite, the tax structure will be populated according to the fiscal position. Let's look at that. Let us again create a sale order. So you can see that as I selected the customer, in the other information tab you can find the field fiscal position, and automatically a fiscal position gets set that was defined in customer screen. Now let's populate the sale order lines. So here you can see that earlier when we created the sale order, the text populated was I tax S, and now that has been overridden by the fiscal position tax 17%, as we have defined a fiscal position in the customer screen. Let's save this and close this. Let's compute this. So here you can see that this calculation is calculated using the tax structure that is defined by the fiscal position. So you can define the fiscal position as per the customer and not by the product. Okay, now as you know, I have defined two fiscal position. I can assign another fiscal position to another customer. Let me define fiscal 13 for this customer, that is Exceller. I'll save this. Okay, let's create again a sale order. You can see that means, as I said, whenever you are defining a fiscal position, that will allow you to set the tax structure based on customers. So it becomes very much useful for the company to set the tax structure based on the clients that are resided at the remote locations in different countries and different cities, states. So you need not to define the multiple products with having different kind of taxes. So it's very much wonderful feature provided by OpenERP. Okay, let's create the sale order line. So here you can see that as my fiscal position here is fiscal underscore 13, my tax is selected respectively that is tax 13. Save and close, and the tax will be calculated based on the tax provided by the fiscal position. So the tax gets replaced by the tax that is provided in the fiscal position. So a product driven tax structure gets overridden by the customer driven tax structure. So what you need to do is you need to define a fiscal position and then assign it to the customer in the accounting tab, fiscal position. But this becomes very much tedious as there are many thousands of customers in our system. So it becomes difficult for a company to set the fiscal position for each and every customers. But in that case also OpenERP has provided a wonderful feature, that is fiscal position rule. Let's look at that. Again you need to go to accounting tab, configuration, and then fiscal position rule. Now let's look at this. What does this fiscal position rule tells? Now the fiscal position rule says that you can define a rule in which you can define the countries against which this fiscal position rule will be applied. So it says that there are different customers from different countries. Now you can provide the tax structures based on the countries. That means let's define this and understand it. I'll be defining the fiscal position rule FPR underscore 17. Let's give some description. Set the 17% tax. Okay, so my field over here is origin country. That means whenever you will be the origin country that will be creating the sale order or the purchase order, that will be termed as origin country. Let's define it. Say for example IN, that is India. So now if the sale order has been generated or created from India, then this fiscal position rule will be applied. Okay, and if this sale order or the purchase order is for the destination countries, let's define the destination countries. Let's say Belgium. Let's add some more. Angola, Australia. Okay, you need to provide the information for company, for which company this fiscal position rule will be applied, and then you need to provide the fiscal position for which this fiscal position rule will be applied. So I'll be selecting fiscal underscore 17. So wherever the fiscal position 17 will be applied, this fiscal position rule will be applied. Now in which places you want to apply this rule? So we can say use in sales order, use in purchases, use in invoices, and use in pickings. So this rule will be applied in sales orders, purchases, invoice, and pickings. Okay, so whenever the sale order or a purchase order that will be generated from the origin country, and if that sale order will be shipping to the destination country provided over here, then at that point of time this fiscal position rule will be applied. So the task of assigning a fiscal position to every customer is rid of by providing this fiscal position rule. You need not to provide the fiscal positions to every customer. Now that will be applied based on the countries that are being specified in the addresses. Also you can provide the states over here. Same way the countries we provided here, you can provide the states here over here. Okay, I will be saving this fiscal position rule. Okay, now let's look at some of the customers. Here you can see the first customer over here is the country, source country will be Belgium. Okay, the destination country will be Belgium, and let's go to the settings, companies, your company. So here you can see that the source country will be India. Now whenever we'll be creating a sale order, let me first remove the fiscal position from the customer. Okay, now we'll be creating the sale order. So again you have seen that as soon as I selected the customer Agrolight, the fiscal position over here gets set to fiscal underscore 17, and that is based on the fiscal position rule. So I need not to set the fiscal position for that customer, that specific customer, and based on the country of that customer, the fiscal position rules applies automatically. So your workload gets very less. Now I'll be creating a sale order line, and we'll be looking at what the text have been applied. So here you can see that according to the fiscal position, the text gets applied, that is text 17%. Save and close. So as per the fiscal position rule, in this sale order the text are being applied. I'll save this. Okay, let us create another fiscal position rule. That will be FPR underscore 13. Let's give up some of the description. Set 13% tax. Let's add the source and the destination countries. I'll say India, and let's add the destination countries. Let's say France. Okay, so you can add as many countries for the origin and the destination countries as per your requirement. So now I'll be setting the company, your company. My fiscal position will be fiscal underscore 13, and I'll be using for sales, purchase, invoices and pickings. So this is my fiscal position rule, FPR underscore 13. I'll save it. Okay, now again let's create the sale order. Now here you can see that a customer Bank Wealthy and Sons are from the country France. So I'll be selecting the Ben Wealthy and Sons in the sale order. Let's look at, yes, you can find that fiscal position fiscal underscore 13 has been selected automatically based on the fiscal position rule that we have defined just now. Let's look at some of the sale order lines. What are the texts have been applied? So here you can see that based on the fiscal position rule, the text gets automatically populated accordingly. I'll save this and close. save this. So fiscal positions is a very wonderful feature that is provided by OpenERP, which reduces your workload, that provides you the customer driven tax and the accounting structure. So you need not to define you need not to define the tax and the accounting structure for an individual customer, and it will override the product driven tax and accounting structure for the sales orders, your invoices, your purchase orders, and your pickings. So this was all about the fiscal position that we have learned. Let's summarize that. We have seen that as a default behavior you find the tax structure based on the product configuration. Now that can be override based on fiscal position, that is you can get the customer driven tax and accounting structure, and you can define fiscal position rule that will be set on the countries of the customers, and using that your workload gets very less. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much.